500 years ago, there was a Pandit by the name of Keshava Kashmiri. Hailing from Kashmir, he traveled all across the Indian subcontinent. Wherever he went, he challenged every scholar and learned person, displaying his mastery of poetry and Sanskrit composition. With an overinflated ego, Keshava Kashmiri set his targets on West Bengal, where he planned to finish his conquest of India by defeating a young scholar.
Those scholars from Goa stood no chance against you, Pandit ji. Oh, what a day at the beach.
Yes. Trivial conquest. They barely put up a fight. I've seen mangoes with better Sanskrit skills. Again, practically no one can compare to a champion of learning like me. Is there any province I have yet to humiliate? Ha!
All that remains is unknown. And you won't believe who the scholars of the provinces chosen as their champion. A 12-year-old boy.
Excuse me, what? A boy? Ha! They have already surrendered and handed me victory. They should have just named a water buffalo as their champion. My tour of Bengal will be a victory parade.
Shall I prepare a celebratory mango lassi?
No, not yet. I still must be a professional. Let me put this boy in his place, and then relish the taste of victory. What is this scholar's name?
They call him Nimai Pandit.
Setting his sights in Bengal, Keshava Kashmiri finally reached the eastern province. On a full moon night, the Pandit decided to take a stroll along the banks of the Ganges before he would challenge the young scholar the next day. It just so happened that Nimai was also out by the river, discussing literary topics with his followers.
Oh, please, everyone look, it is the great scholar Keshava Kashmiri for whom I am to debate. It is an honor to receive you, Panditji. Welcome. Come join us on this illustrious evening on the banks of the Ganga.
I understand that you are a teacher of grammar, and that your name is Nimai Pandit. People speak very highly of your teaching of beginner's grammar.
Save some for the debate tomorrow. You have the poor boy shaking in his dhoti.
Yes, I am known as the teacher of grammar, but factually I cannot impress my students with grammatical knowledge, nor can they understand me very well. My dear sir, whereas you are a very learned scholar in all sorts of scriptures and are very much experienced in composing poetry, I am only a boy, a new student, and nothing more. Therefore, I desire to hear your skill in composing poetry. We could hear this if you would mercifully describe the glory of Mother Ganges.
When the Brahmana, Keshava Kashmiri, heard this, he became still more puffed up. Flexing every linguistic muscle he possessed, the Pandit set to work. Within 1 hour, he composed 100 verses describing Mother Ganges. As he began to recite each verse, Nimai Pandit sat attentively and listened to every syllable, memorizing the entire composition. Oozing with pride, Keshava Kashmiri looked down upon the boy, ready to claim another scholarly conquest.
Sir, there is no greater poet than you in the entire world. Your poetry is so difficult that no one can understand it but you and Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning. But if you could explain just one verse for me.
Just one? Very well. A noble champion is always willing to showcase his winning ways. What verse? If you can even remember.
The greatness of Mother Ganges always brilliantly exists. She is the most fortunate because she emanated from the lotus feet of Sri Vishnu, the personality of Godhead. She is a second goddess of fortune, and therefore she is always worshipped both by demigods and by humanity. Endowed with all wonderful qualities, she flourishes on the head of Lord Shiva.
Did that kid just...
I recited all these verses like the blowing wind. How could you completely learn by heart even one among those verses?
By the grace of the Lord, someone may become a great poet, but similarly, by his grace, someone else may become a great Shruti-dara who can memorize anything immediately.
Not too bad for a mere child. Where about the verse do you wish to know?
Please don't take this the wrong way, but can you explain all its qualities and faults?
Faults? Faults? Kids these days. There's not a tinge of fault in that verse. Rather, it has the good qualities of similes and alliteration.
There's no doubt that your poetry is full of ingenuity, and certainly it has satisfied the Supreme Lord. Yet, if we scrutinizingly consider it, we can find both good qualities and faults.
You are an ordinary student of grammar. What do you know about literary embellishments? You cannot review this poetry because you do not know anything about it. All right, boy. Let's hear your expert analysis. What faults have you found?
My dear sir, in this verse, there are 5 faults and 5 literary ornaments.
Nimai Pandit systematically began to break down the Sanskrit composition. Every placement of verbiage, nouns, subject matter, alliteration, ornamentation, embellishment, and conjugation was scrutinized by the Lord. As young Nimai picked apart the verse with surgical precision, flaws began to show, such as unnecessary embellishments, word redundancies, contradictions, and basic grammatical errors.
I have simply discussed the 5 gross faults and 5 literary embellishments of this verse, but if we consider it in fine detail, we will find unlimited faults. You have achieved poetic imagination and ingenuity by the grace of your worshipable demigod. But poetry not well reviewed is certainly subject to criticism. Poetic skill used with due consideration is very pure, and with metaphors and analogies is dazzling.
Keshava? Hello? How did you... You're just a...
All those years, mastering the poetic arts, and I get picked apart by a mere child. It must be the will of Mother Saraswati to humiliate me through you.
Please, friends, stop. He's a great poet, and even champions can make simple mistakes. Please, sir, go take rest. Don't take my boyish fun too seriously. Tomorrow, at our official debate, you will have the opportunity to truly showcase your prowess.
Having returned to his residence, Keshava Kashmiri prayed to the goddess of learning, Mother Saraswati. In a dream that evening, the goddess revealed to him the true nature of the boy he lost to. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the boy known as Nimai Pandit, was none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself. Humbled by this revelation, the Kashmir scholar arrived at the debate arena where the young boy was waiting for him.
My lord, oh, what a buffoon I've been! I was blind to your transcendental qualities. My whole life I've worked for name, fame, glory, all material pursuits, which got me nothing of true worth. This entire scholarly conquest of mine has borne no fruit, that is, until now. Destiny, Mother Saraswati, and you have shown great mercy on me. Somehow or other, I have come into your association to be humbled. You, Nimai Pandit, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. I relinquish all my material accolades. I simply wish to take shelter of your lotus feet.
Keshava Kashmiri, you have graduated from the School of Humility. All the ties of your material bondage have been cut. Now go and chant the glories of Sri Hari.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare
5.
Hare Krishna, everyone! All are very smart devotees to be from Goa. Those of you who haven't been to Goa, very wonderful beaches, prime real estate. Definitely set up in ISKCON Goa next time. But,
Oh, look, you can watch from there.
I need a shave. First and foremost, I'd like to thank all of you for coming here on Gaur Punim on a weekday, because Krishna consciousness doesn't only exist on Sunday, it exists every day. So thank you for making the trek out here to ISKCON of Orlando on a Thursday. Now, I'd like to go over to our cast. We have the elite of the elite, the best scholar that Kashmir has ever produced, Keshava Kashmiri, played by I'm her lackey, Pandit, wingman. And of course, we have the actual greatest scholar to ever emerge from the Indian subcontinent, Nimai Pandit, played by Where's Amaresh Prabhu? But I'd like to thank our narrator Amaresh Prabhu. And then who was operating our lights? Praveen, come on. Thank you, Praveen. And then I'd like to also thank my audience plant of Max for getting everybody to laugh and make fun. But this pastime really the main highlight is, of course, we actually talked about it earlier. Actually, Keshav, funny, Keshav, Kashmiri, but Arjun Keshav, he mentioned all these different ways that Mahaprabhu was able to deliver prem to different people, even though he's still delivering the same thing. So in some ways, it's simply giving kirtan to everyone. In other instances, as Nimai Pandit, it's doing so on a scholarly level, but still delivering everybody with a different flavor. Everyone has different ways that they learn, but ultimately everyone still deserves prem. But sometimes they just need to be humbled, which we all know from Shishastikam Trinadapi Sunichena Tarodapi Sahishnana Amanana Manadena Hirtanya Sarahari. You must be humble like a blade of grass. Good. Or the straw on the street, because you're always stepped on, but you always get back up, but you always bow down at the lotus feet of a devotee. And of course, if you're always bowing down, the first thing you're always going to see is the lotus feet of the Lord. So that's one thing whenever we read all of these different pastimes, take in all of these smaller lessons, how to be humble, how that can impact our lives when we're practicing and trying to engage in devotional